Hi, fellow traders. I hope everybody had a great week and ended this week good. This morning was okay. This afternoon, it was just a real snoozer. Didn't really get any activity. Well, we did with a little bit of re-reported news. So some of the retails moved a little bit, but other than that, we just didn't have any excitement. But today, I'm going to recap yesterday's trades and today's trades. We're just going to put them all together and just kind of go from there. But, what I want to share with you real quick is that, successful traders follow their own path. And, well, they build it and then they follow it. You guys know me. I don't advertise my community by blasting emails and throwing specials out there every holiday, because I'm not trying to get thousands of people to join. I want to be able to work with each and every one of you guys, and I want to be able to answer every email personally, and not have it sit there for 2 or 3 days before I get to it. I want you to know without a shadow of a doubt what I stand for, because you see, you're going to need to establish what you stand for in all of this, who you are as a professional trader. You can't be an Ed clone. My goal is to give you what you need to go out and make your own path and follow it. There's some that get it, and there's some that don't. They're just there to watch and try to point out my mistakes or inconsistencies of how I trade from one day to the next. You're never going to get anywhere trying to figure that out, because that's not going to help you get to the next level. I'm my own trader, and I'm at the point now where I have my set of rules. I have everything that I follow, but the market doesn't have any rules. And sometimes you have to, bend yours a little bit so that you can get what you need out of the market. But you can only do that with experience. And if you never get to that point and you never develop into your own trader, then you're not going to get there. You have to start looking at yourself in the mirror and start asking yourself these hard questions. If you're listening to me, chances are, your trading book isn't written yet. Right now, you're in the process of gathering the data you need to help you write it. And then you have to take that data and take it and write your own story, chapter by chapter. Each and every one of you, inside of you, has your own authentic trader. You have to find it and you have to follow it. That's what I try to do in the mentoring sessions as we go through your trades. I try to see, what style do you have? What do you see better? What do you see not so good? And try to steer you into, down the path that you should go. And it takes time. You can't come in for a week and say, try to take a trade. Or you got some people that'll sign up for a month, and if they can't make their money back in a month, then they quit and move on. These are the people that they'll never create their own path, because they're always trying to follow somebody else's. And you got to stop, learn all the fundamentals, learn what everything is about, and build your own way. That's what all this is about. And until you do, it's I can't say that it can happen for you. The possibility is there. Making money in the market as an individual private equities trader or just a day trader, the opportunity is there. You just have to know what to do and how to go about doing it, and then blaze your own path. And that's what it's going to take. Now, tomorrow I'm going to do the the weekly recap. I'm not going to be able to add everything in today, but we'll do it tomorrow. And we're starting a new class or I guess a new focus, a new class, whatever you want to call it. It'll be in a class type setting specifically for those wanting to grow a small account. Now, we're starting next month in doing the fundamental classes and getting everything together that you're going to need to get together, so that when we start the second quarter, we're going to be ready to go. And we're going to start, from there, we're going to start employing these strategies. Because, trading with $1,500 is a totally different mentality than trading with $15,000. My mindset and my mentality was totally different back in October than it is right now. And there's a lot of things that if you don't think about and you don't focus and you don't really understand, you're never going to get to where you want to be. And I want to be there to help you guys. And as always, the classes are free to those in the community. So all the members, you get it for free. And if you can't be there for the class, the videos will be in the archive that all you guys have access to. But I'll talk to you more about, I'll explain more about that tomorrow when I do my, just kind of cover my weekly stats. All right, so yesterday we had W on our watch, and this was the one that I really locked in on that I wanted to nail. And as usual, we had a gap down, and we got down below all of these moving averages, but we were on top of the 200. So whenever I see that, the 200 automatically is going to be my target. And I'm going to look for some windows of opportunity. And I use these pivots as potential profit targets. So when I get in the trade, I'll have targets for me to hit, logical targets that we should be going to, because stocks move from supply to supply, from demand to demand. It's going to move from there. So you find these supply zones, and most of these are going to be pivots from the daily chart. They're going to be different types of trend lines that we're going to look at here in a minute, or moving averages. So I thought we had a real good opportunity here on W. So this is where my focus went. So you can see I started trading it at the open, and as usual, I couldn't hold my water, and I jumped in a little bit early. Well, a lot early. I was sitting here watching it, and I got kind of excited and jumped in, and worked out pretty good for me. I did get a good first cover, just over a point, but then I had to stop out because it blew back up on me. And then once it did that, I got back in and just kind of reset myself. You can see I got out this last piece at 9:42, got back in at 9:44, about 2 minutes later. And I got back in as I got the feel for it, and just started hitting my targets. And this was my last cover here. And I felt, this wasn't my last cover. I felt pretty good. This is where I got in. This was my first cover. My second, this is where I got back short. And this is where I covered all the way down to the 200. And, this was as perfect a move as you can get. And in my mind, I was like, okay, now this is going to be an all-day hold. Well, you'll see in my swing trade, in my swing account, I set it up for an all-day hold. Don't ask me why the hell I was day trading it here when I know we were going sideways. I have no idea why I was doing it. But, I was doing it. I was just taking little bitty moves, and here I got stopped out. And I got in here and said I was just going to hold it. But this was dumb because I already had a position in my swing account that I was holding for the all-day hold. And so I just had to hold through all of this while I was just going crazy and just trading sideways, and then once we dipped through it, I took some off, and I'm getting ready to close my position, and I bought too much. I ended up buying more than I actually had, and then I tried to sell what I had, and I ended up selling more than what I had, and it ended up 500 shares short again. So I had to buy it again. And this is just a product of me sitting on the side of the road waiting on my son and trying to trade on my computer. And it's it's a laptop, it's a touchscreen, and that doesn't work too well sometimes, especially when you get excited. And I was kind of excited around here. But that's what this was. This was just ridiculous, which is why, I had too many tickets on here. And I had 22 trades on this. Now some of them were split, like here where the orders were split. So you're going to have, more trades than you actually have tickets you would charge for. But, 22 on this is just way too many. I would have liked to see at least 12, maybe 16 at the most. But, just too many tickets on this. And I know this kind of messed me up here, but still, this was just too many tickets. So this, I needed to focus today on cleaning this up, if we got this same type move. But the other stock I was looking at was MIC. And you can see this one had a huge gap down as well. But this one was gapping down into no man's land on the 52-week chart. Now, you could go back to 2013 and find some price action in here. But lately, I've just been sticking to the 52-week chart. And if I don't have anything in the 52-week chart, if this is making a 52-week low, as far as I'm concerned, is in no man's land. And I'm going to use whole and half dollar marks. Well, the reason why I didn't put this one on my number one watch was because I thought we had gapped down way too much. And I didn't think we were going to get this big of a move. So I didn't pick this. I kept this on my charts because it'd be a secondary watch, which is the trade I took on it. But it was, I just thought it was too far gone. And I almost forgot. I took this trade while I was at the doctor's office. So that could explain, why I was sitting there trading. Trying to look cool, I guess, is all I could say. Trying to look cool, trying to look like a big shot, trading stocks, sitting at the doctor's office. So that's where I got into all of this mess. This is where I got myself into trouble. I thought I was just going in and coming out, just to go over my lab results from last week and all of that. But it was a little bit more than that. Ended up having to get a scan and get some more tests done. It just killed my whole afternoon. So this whole time I was at the doctor's office. So, and this is, where I traded this as well. I was at the doctor's office. And I got back on my computer because I was waiting to go in to get my head examined. And I was like, and I mentioned in chat that I like the setup, and I was going to probably give this a run. And that's kind of what I did, but it came back on me. And, but it never did make a new high. So I felt, we were still in a downtrend. So as it sold off, I always know that once we get a big sell-off like this, we typically get a bounce, just like this, back to the moving averages. So once it started, it showed me it started to bounce. I went ahead and took it off, and I was going to wait and reset again if it pulled back to the 20 or whatever, but it didn't. And so I got in here once we cracked the low of this candle again, and ended up, taking some profit here. But since I was on the road and I could only watch, really one stock, I couldn't get back in this. Once I took this, I was pretty much done with this stock. But this was a nice move at the end of the day that really could have paid dearly for me. But, I'm happy with what I got. It's still a pretty decent lick on this. And this was just a secondary trade. So I try to explain what I'm looking at in chat. So if I'm not typing because it takes too long for me to type most of the time. And by the time I type my thoughts out, sometimes it's too late to get the trade. So everything is audio for me. And there's no need for me to type the trade in because you see it as it happens. Every time I go on a trade, this updates, real time in chat. You see it. You see what I get filled at, what time I got filled, how much. And you got all the data here. You see when I put in my stop order, you see where I put that in at. My profit targets, you see me put them in. So I don't type much. I try to explain to you exactly what I'm doing, step by step, and why I'm doing it. That's the key. All right, so that was MIC, and yesterday in my day trading account, that was 10/21/35. So that wasn't a bad day in there. Okay, so like I said, on W, I was looking to do an all-day hold. Now, I was also looking to get in a little bit early in this account because I've gotten sick of watching the stocks just take off without me. Just, continue to run down and make the big move before the market even opens. Been real frustrated. So I said, I'm going to get in this early. I'm going to get in my swing account so that it won't tie up me day trading. And if I have, I'm going to hold it through stuff. And sure enough, I set my targets too close and it hit my targets, and I was all out pre-market. And I was all out before it even made this huge move. So I missed a pretty good chunk of the meat of the move here. So this was frustrating. I mean, this wasn't a bad trade, but this was a potential $3,000 trade for me. And I just missed half of it, is what it boils down to. So I really had set my profit targets too tight. And they were based on levels. I don't have them drawn on here. I draw my levels on my Thinkorswim chart. So I don't have them on here. But, that's what it was all based on that. And we ended up continuing down. And here, just couldn't make any headway. I got in here and, got out because it just wasn't feeling right. It didn't feel like we were going anywhere. And then this candle opened and we started to sell. So I got in and then it went up. But, again, I'm not doing this as a day trade. I got to give it room. And it came down. So I was able to just get another little couple pennies out of this. But ended up 1647.54, which was okay, but really could have got twice as much and should have gotten twice as much. But again, this morning I just kind of kind of messed that up. And this got messed up because I was at the doctor, trying to do all of this stuff again, trying to show out. But you know what happens when you try to show out. So yesterday I finished with 26, 68, 89 in both accounts. Well, between both accounts. So that's pretty good. Now, the reason I'm adding these together is because at the end of the month, I withdraw from both of these accounts. This is where I get my paycheck from the short-term swing account and my day trading account. Now, my long-term swing account, I don't touch that until the end of the year. My IRA, I don't touch that. So these are the only two accounts that pay me. My swing account and my day trading account. So that's where I'm making my money. So SCG, this yesterday actually squeezed a lot harder than I thought. I knew SCG had a 40% short interest, and I knew that once earnings were reported, I knew they were going to be bad because they have to eat that failed nuclear project. There's no way they're going to report good earnings when they have to eat that thing. And they did. They reported some terrible earnings. But the stock squeezed up. And I didn't think it would get past the 20 yesterday, but it did. It went all the way up, got up to around 40. But I still held it. I still have that conviction that this thing is going to tank. This company is in deep, deep trouble. And I don't foresee any other company coming in. I don't even know why this other company, Dominion or who, I can't remember the name of it, wants to come in and take over, because they're taking over a mess. And the General Assembly is getting fake emails from fake accounts trying to boost the merger, and that's just not going to work. This has to go through our General Assembly in order for it to get approved. And they put this thing on hold. They got the deal on hold, even though they got a fast track through the government regulatory agency. It's got to pass the local thing first, and this is where this thing is going to have trouble. So my thesis is still intact, and this was from yesterday. We'll look at today's chart here in a minute, but I put this together yesterday, but just didn't have time to do the recap. All right, so today, EXAS was on my watch, and this was another stock gapping down. We had some pretty nice room down here, and I was pretty excited about it. And I was like, this is pretty nice. And I wanted to, this was one of the main watches I had. So at the open, I was patient today. I was like, okay, I'm going to be patient. I'm going to let this candle work, and then I'm going to get in. So this candle open, we put in this big bottom and tail here, or, hammer, a big tail. So whenever we have that big tail, I always get in just under the body. So this candle opened, pushed up, and started to sell off. So I got in just under the VWAP, just under the body of this. And it started to work. This was going to be my first target. 39 was going to be my first target. And we never could get there. So we turned around and started reversing. So I had to go ahead and stop out. I let it push up. It went all the way up to the 100-day, just like I thought. If we get through this, I said we would get to the 100 probably before it reversed. But the 9, the 20, this was just too close. If this wasn't here, I would have taken this for a trade back to the VWAP. But I got in. I waited until we got below the 20 and we kind of established below it. So I got in. This candle was red and we were selling. And it seems like within 30 seconds of me getting in, the tide changed. I mean, I sensed it. I felt it. The momentum changed in this stock. And we started to go up and it ended up getting stopped out. So day trading today, just stumped. I just did not get what I was looking for. I was really excited, you know, thinking that this was going to do the same thing that all these other stocks did. But just as I've said in the past, the market has its own idea. It's going to do what it's going to do. And it's up to me to figure it out and trade accordingly. I didn't do well on this and, you know, ended up 645.80 down today in the day trading account. All right, so now we're going to look at the swing trading account. You can see this is SCG today. Remember we talked about it. We pulled back some. Everything is in a downtrend. I'm still feeling, you know, pretty good about this trade and feeling that we could come back. I'm already in full size because I added one time before. So I can't add to this. If I could, I would have added to it here. But I'm not adding anymore because then I would take away buying power from me being able to get into another swing or two in this account. So I'm not going to, you know, I wasn't going to double down on this. Just wait and look for it to continue to come down. So we're still in the downward trend. I'm still optimistic, real optimistic about this trade. So OLED, this was my main watch today. Again, we had this huge gap down. And this is the FinViz chart because this is the first chart I look at. When the stock hits my scan, I pull up the FinViz chart because I want to see the news and everything, all the technicals, all in one place. And this FinViz helps me out. And I was looking, and we were gapping down, and I'm like, this is perfect. This is a descending support here that is now acting as resistance. So it was resisting this pre-market, and that's what triggered me to get in this early. And this was going to be a carbon copy of my W trade yesterday, but I wasn't going to take it off too early. I was going to make sure I locked in some good profit on this first. So here's the chart. I use a 30-minute, a 60-minute chart because I like to slow things down, and it helps me to not worry about. I don't want to watch this thing tick for tick. You know, watching the daily chart on an all-day hold probably doesn't make sense. So I use a 30 to 60 minute to work on this. Now imagine if I was in this trade and I was watching a 5-minute chart. This would have stopped me out. This definitely would have stopped me out. But watching a 30-minute chart, this didn't close above these levels. It didn't close above VWAP. So we kept coming in. So that kept me in the trade. And I was able to take some profit here. And then I closed it out here because it looked like we were starting to push back up. But when we didn't, it looked like we were starting to fail again. I kind of jumped the gun here and got in when I should have waited for it to test VWAP and then get in. But I got in here and I'm still holding it. I'm about break even on what I'm holding, I believe. Maybe $50, $70 to the downside. But the reason why I held on to this, number one, this is why I do this in my swing account. Because these all-day hold trades often have good swing setups. And as long as we were below this and we close weak on the day, there's a good possibility we're going to keep coming in. And, you know, this could be an ATM machine. So I'm trusting the technicals. I'm trusting, oh, there it is. I'm trusting what I believe in. And, you know, I am holding this overnight. So I do have 500 shares that I'm holding overnight. You can see SCG. This one does get kind of crazy after the close, so you can't really pay attention to that. That's not an accurate depiction of the stock itself. All right, so that was it for me today. All in all, not so good today. Not the way I wanted to end the week, but I'm not red, so that's always a good thing. 539.84 is to the good. That's where we ended up today. So an okay week. Haven't really added it up to see what I made this week. Because I need to figure it out and withdraw the money. And you know, it takes a couple days to do, and then disperse it how I need to disperse it, and then we're gonna start this thing all over again. So I'll go over that tomorrow, real quickly in my weekly recap video, and then just kind of share with you so the members to know, or those of you that aren't members and you got a small account and you want to grow it and you want to learn the right way to do it, you don't have to pay anything extra. You join the community and all classes are free. You know, you never have to pay any extra money for a class. Alright, so that's going to do it for me these last 2 days. And I'll be back tomorrow with my weekly recap. Have a great Friday evening and stay safe out there.